Hello and welcome to Property Investment Blueprint podcast. I have one of the biggest sources out there, Jack Dawhra. He's been working in the property business for long time now. I know him. It's been a couple of years or so, I think, since I've met Jack. Jack is he's an amazing guy to work with. Very inspirational. When you tend to speak with him, he gives you all the information you need. So literally, I wanted him to come on board in this platform so that we will get to know him a little bit. I think the story isn't as good unless people know where you came from and how you started, really. Jack, if you could tell our audience how you started and scale your property business to a maybe £1 million property business. So I just wanted to hear from you, really. If you could tell us a bit about yourself.
So, I came as an immigrant in the country about 22 years ago.
Okay.
And I remember I literally came with nothing. I literally had £300 the day I landed here.
Wow.
And I went through a period of 20 plus jobs over a period of 2 years.
Wow.
And it got to a point where I realized I am not made to work for someone else. Just right. And even though I didn't have a lot of money around back then, I just knew one thing, that I'm not just going to go work for anyone.
Right.
So those who are listening to this, if you have a plan B, you're always going to be on plan B. You're never going to make work plan A. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
It's people who kind of depend on plan B. They're just not committed to plan A in the first place. That's
Correct.
what it is.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I went through many jobs, working in warehouses, working in restaurants, to retail, to all sorts of things that you can imagine. Getting to a point where I said, okay, I'm actually going to start my own taxi business.
Right. Okay.
So this is 2003. I came to the country in 2000, started my business in 2003. And I built eventually from a taxi company, we started a chauffeur company, which is more like luxury cars, E-classes, S-classes, Bentleys, Rolls-Royces, cars like that. We moved on to a more luxury company, a luxury taxi company, chauffeur company.
Right.
And we built that from scratch to a team of 47 drivers till 2014. This is a period of almost 12 years. I remember one day I was looking at the office and there was 47 drivers working around for us. And I just looked at the whole journey. I said, that was my journey in the transport business. I just didn't have any more of my heart in the business.
Yeah.
We decided to sell that business. I had a partner back then as well. So we sold that business in 2014. I still carried on with a part of that business till I sold that part of the business in 2016. But even though while I was running that, I was investing in properties. I bought my first one in 2003, another one in 2007, another one in 2011. So I carried on buying a few buy-to-lets, accidental landlord, whatever you want to call me. But I kept buying a few properties in the journey. And it's when I sold the big part of the business in 2014 is when I got into business development. So basically, I started consulting other businesses on business development. One thing I realized in that journey was that not a lot of people knew me back then. And I was not aware of this whole personal branding back then. I didn't know any of that. But so when I went into the market to say, okay, you know what, I can help you grow your business, very few people knew me or believed in me in the first place. I signed up a few people. We helped with, all the digital marketing, all the digital aspects of it. But then I got to a point where I was advanced sales, the actual inbound, outbound marketing of certain businesses. I was doing that. And I was at that point looking for a tech idea that I could potentially launch that would make a bigger impact on this world. And I came across the idea of PEN, which is Property Entrepreneurs Network. Not a lot of people know this, but it's actually, or I must say, not that a lot of people know it, but they don't have enough clarity on PEN. It's actually a technology platform, which is, in fact, is the world's first property social media platform. You can go on it, you can get registered, you can find investors, you can find deals, you can find agents, you can find the whole poverty members from the platform. People are rated there as well. We're still very new. but it's now roughly about 500,000 people network.
Wow,
So
well done.
Through the COVID period, we've been lucky to have a lot of people join us. We took over a couple of other networks as well. So we bought a couple of companies with large networks. So we grew pretty fast through the COVID period as a network. And at the back of that, we obviously do our own investments. We do developments, we do BRR projects, we invest in our hotels as well. So there's a bunch of things that we do behind the scenes. But again, at the core, it's a property social media platform. And for those who are listening to this, you can go get registered for free. You can connect with, like I said, investors, deals, agents, landlords, all sorts of people.
What was the name of the company name? What was the name of the social media platform again?
So it's called Property Entrepreneurs with an S network.com. The short form is PEN.
Fantastic. Okay. So to be honest with you, when I saw that name, I tend to mistake it with the event Simons she does.
That's right. Property Investors
first
Network.
of all, I did ask if you're one of the people who host it, and then he said, "Oh, this is yours." So yeah, absolute name. I love the name. It's absolutely amazing. So I must really relate to you as well. I am an immigrant as well, so I moved in the country as a minor. So I go through the system, I go through all that stuff. So I really understand the pain, and especially English not being your first language, trying to learn all that, trying to integrate. So for you to be able to move from a taxi business to a advisory business to doing what you're doing here, I can only say well done. I really commend you for that. And then thank you so much for actually sharing that with us. And I can't wait for you to share the amazing news about the hotel you bought recently. And that hotel, it just blew me away when you told me I bought the hotel. I make money from day one. So I don't want to bore you with that, but I will ask you a specific question about that hotel as well. So thanks for that. Property investing is the best ever for me. You've done it, and it would help you get multiple sources of income as well. And then, as you said, you've just bought a hotel. What would you say to people who is thinking about starting their property investment journey? They're not really sure whether now is the time to invest, or whether they're just procrastinating, basically. They're not really sure whether this is the time to take a leap of faith. So what would you tell people who are in that sort of situation?
So I'll give you an analogy, which is, if you look at most millionaires in the world, including billionaires, but most millionaires and billionaires,
yeah,
either they have made their money from real estate, so property, yeah, or if they've made money from somewhere else that they eventually invested it into real estate. Okay, so try and observe the journey of people around you who are potentially well off, wealthy, have made a few millions, or people who maybe just around you, your gaffer, your governor, someone you work for, I don't know, whatever, the kind of people you can find around you. Just observe their journey. And the likelihood is 60% of the world's millionaires and billionaires have actually made, statistically it's proven, have made their money from real estate, which is, so yes, it is a great vehicle. Are there other ways to make more money? No doubt. If you're creative, you can. But my journey has been that irrespective of what you do, you're eventually going to invest in real estate. So why not start now? And when should you start? You should start now. You must, in fact, I don't want to use the word should. You must start now, because it's never been a better time in the human civilization to be able to become a millionaire as easy as it is now. Okay. Now, when I say easy, I'd like to put this in a bit more context. It's not easy, but it's easier than it has ever been. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay. Absolutely. So if you looked at, 30 years ago, making £1 million was going through real hell. While you can do that now, not necessarily going through hell, but just a bit of hard work, a bit of smart work. Okay. Yeah. Just because of all this social media revolution, all the digital technology, Web3 coming up, those who are going to jump on are going to make. I know people personally, the day Web3 and all of this social media changes that are going to come through, I know people who are sitting on ideas that they're going to make $1 million in a single day. In a single day. I know people who are about to launch platforms that are going to reach 100 million. Okay. Wow. And that's purely because they are monetizing the digital revolution that we're going, and invest now The same properties are going to be worth a lot more money going forward when you invest in the right location and the right property. But yeah, must start now.
Fantastic. Thanks very much for that. And you just re-emphasized, you literally just gave a confirmation of what I've been telling people long time ago. People know Warren Buffett and Bill Gates. Warren Buffett is known for stock and shares, and Bill Gates is known for Microsoft. What people don't know, basically, Bill Gates is the biggest landowner in America, right? And Warren got one of the biggest real estate investment company in America. So what the millionaires and billionaires do, as you've just said, they literally find a business that generates income and then put that money into real estate, right? That is the formula they do. But the reason why they do that, I believe, why I mean properties as well, is the security, right? The property is there no matter what. A director or speculation will not take that property away from you. When it comes to stock and shares, because that's what our millennial people are investing now, they fail to realize you will have maybe 100,000 tonight. You wake up in the morning, you are 30,000 pounds, only because it's based on speculations, right? And the dividend you pay in stock and shares as well is not as much as when it comes to properties, unless if you're trading, right?
That's true.
And when COVID hits as well, right? Only people that have lost their shares or stock in the travel industry or airline industry, they never got their money back, right? But us, the landlord, for the tenant who lost their job, couldn't afford to pay rent, the government chipped in to help them pay their rent. Again, that's the reason why I love properties, okay? No matter what, you still make money out of it. Capital appreciation, as well as, obviously, the rent tenants pay to you. What I tell everybody, don't wait to invest in property, invest now. The best time to invest in properties maybe was about 2009 or 2008. The second best time is basically now. During COVID, when everybody was in lockdown, everybody thinking the world is about to end, I was buying properties. I was buying them at discount. Guess what? Some of the properties, before I finished the renovation works, they've gone up over 30 to 40%.
That's true.
Right? So you are absolutely right on that basis. So anybody who's listening to this, you have to take that leap of faith and invest. It will really change your life for better.
Yes, that's
right?
true. That's true.
And yeah, carry on.
I think a lot of people struggle with it is, I have tried to dissect procrastination. And procrastination, in most cases, not all cases, is nothing more than lack of clarity.
Yeah.
Which is not knowing if, first of all, property is the right vehicle, and if it is, then what's the right strategy within property. And for those who are watching this, I mean, I can tell you, vanilla investments, as they call it, buy to let, is going to practically die. So please do not invest in buy to let. I have had more people asking me to mentor them and train them on buy to let, where I've just refused point blank, because that is not the right strategy. If you want to, think of it this way. Someone comes to me, says, what, can you train me on buy to let? I train them. They look back 10 years later, now they have more knowledge, and they look back at this strategy and think, shit, this is a crap strategy. Why the hell, Jack, train me on this? I literally tell people, do not invest in buy to let anymore. Not that it's not profitable, but it's not profitable as it used to be. And when you compare that opportunity, or when you compare buy to let with other strategies that are available, there's way more strategies that will help you get a much higher return on investment. But clarity is key. And the more you will go and get trainings, the more you get mentoring. If you have no money for training, go and sit down on YouTube, watch 200-300 hours of videos, and you will have at least 50% of the knowledge, if not more.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's something people don't do. I remember back in the days, one of my mentors, he actually gave me sort of 100+ hours of MP3 recordings. Okay.
Okay.
In fact, I remember there was 170+ episodes or something, if I can remember correctly, the numbers. And I went back to him. I listened to a few. I went back to him, asked him a couple of questions, and he said, "Have you done all my episodes yet?" I said, "Not yet." He goes, "I'm not answering any of your questions till you go and do every single one of those episodes, right? Because you're wasting my time."
Correct.
And I took it with, at that point, I was like, why isn't he just giving me 10 minutes? It's going to take him 10 minutes, but it's going to take me hundreds of hours. No, that was the right thing for him to do, because not just that, it's almost like half truth or half knowledge is actually more dangerous than not knowing anything. Okay, so that was the reason behind him kind of pushing me to go and listen to all the training. So I did, and I went back. I literally had only a few questions after that, and since then it's been a hell of a journey. But at the same time, go and watch the videos. If you don't have the money, follow people and observe people. I think you learn more from observation than from the trainings and the YouTube videos and the podcasts and everything else. Observe what Rahim is doing. Yeah. Observe me, what I'm doing, with a lot of humility. I mean, we're not bragging. I'm not bragging here. I came as an immigrant. I had nothing in my pocket. So go and observe what we are doing. What are we investing in? What is Rahim investing in? That's the question you want to ask. So in BRR, then it might be worth looking at that strategy, because it definitely is a good strategy to focus on. HMO conversions, stuff like that, planning uplifts, rent to rents. These are good business models to focus on, but you got to focus on one at a time. And I think, like I said, one of the biggest reasons I find people procrastinating and not doing much with their life is lack of clarity.
Fantastic. You've answered that question. Amazing. So thanks for that. Just to add on to that, so some of the people that are doing buy-to-let, they're doing it because I know there's not lots of income in it, right? They want to be that safe and secure person. And most of them are people that are working full-time anyways, doctors, nurses, and et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's not a bad investment, but if you want to accelerate your progress, there are better strategies out there. You've got service accommodation, you have holiday lets, you have conversions that you've just talked about. I've just completed a property that we're converting into 5 flats, right? And again, that is literally the income that you want to get. I understand where you're pointing of it, but if you haven't started yet, look at these strategies. If buy-to-let is something that you want to start with it maybe for one property or so you can see how it goes, and then you can branch out to actually strategies like this. But you're absolutely right. If you want to get better return on your investment, there are better strategies out there that would help you literally take your property investment journey to the next level. Like people like Jack is doing really in those sort of strategies as well. So then, Jack, how do you really scale your business? Because I know there's so many people doing so many different things. So what do you think is the best way someone who's just about to start would be able to actually start and scale their business to like beyond their dreams?
Okay, so when it comes to scaling business, Rahim, I must start with, it's not for everyone, okay? Yeah. A lot of people want to scale their business. They want to get to this, magical 1 million a year figure. But many people are actually not built to lead a medium to large size business, okay? They do not have the patience. Yes, you can build your patience. They do not have the resilience. Yes, you can build your resilience. They don't have the skills as yet. And some people are just genetically not built to lead a medium to large size business. So first, knowing yourself is very, very important. Are you the person who wants to build a medium large business? And if the answer is no, don't do it, because all you're going to get is frustration. Yeah. But if you do get to know yourself and you realize that, okay, I am the person who can lead a team of 10, 20 people. I'm a person who doesn't mind having hundreds of employees, then head towards scaling your business. And there's 2 questions I ask myself when I'm looking to scale any single product or service. One is it scalable in the first place? Because most are scalable. And what do I mean by that is they either don't have enough profit margins, or they're difficult in one or the other ways of scaling. So maybe the pipeline is difficult to fill. Maybe the staff is very difficult to find. Recruitment is difficult. Maybe it's difficult to find the money for certain projects. Okay. Yeah. For example, I've been lately finding that development business, those who've already scaled, it's okay for them. Okay, because they've created the momentum. Yeah. Those who are looking to scale now, they're going to find it difficult. Reason being, it's a lot more difficult to find deals that stack up really well. 98% of the deals, development deals in the market, are brought with 20% net profit margin. And that is a bare minimum required to raise funding. So to be able to scale that business, you have to fill your pipeline of deals. And if that becomes a challenge, it's very difficult to scale. And these things, if you do your research, you'll always find that these are waves, they go up and down. So at the moment it's difficult. Maybe in 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years time, it's going to come back again, and there'll be more deals in the pipeline. But at the moment, development business is a way more difficult to scale in comparison to some of the other strategies. But making sure, so I started with 2 questions. I asked myself 2 questions.
Okay.
Is everything lined up to scale a certain strategy or a certain kind of product or service? And second is, how can I stand out? Unless I don't have the answer to both of these, I would not invest. Right. So first is, how do I stand out within that product or service in comparison to the competition? And the second is, are all the variables there for me to be able to scale? Is there enough staff in the local region? Right. Is there enough deals in the local region? Is it possible for me to find not just the staff, but at a reasonable cost? And many of the other factors that come along when you're building your power team. Like I said, if you don't get clear answers before you even invest to these 2 questions, please don't invest, because all you're going to find is frustration and difficult to scale. In fact, I always give this example, Rahim, and you'd be able to see through this, because a lot of people come to me and say, you know what, I want to start an estate agency. And I say, you know what, do you know how many estate agents are in your town? And they normally either say no, or if they do know, they'd say, okay, 20, 25, 30. That's the normal average in any town. And I said, okay, so if there's 20 estate agents already in your town, and you're the 21st one, okay, tell me how you're going to make money. The likelihood of you failing, if you're the 21st or the 26th or the 30th one in the town, is so damn high that you're going to work on it for 3, 4, 5 years. You're going to get a frustration and just give up, because it's just going to be a bleeding war of prices.
Right.
Okay. And this applies to everything. Either you're doing developments, you're doing commercial conversions, you're doing rent to rent. If in your town you've got 20 other operators, okay, you are going to struggle irrespective. Yes, you will make your bread and butter, but you're not going to be able to scale. That is the challenge. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So if you wanted to make your bread and butter, you want to make 5, 10 grand a month, that's fine. Start whatever you want. Mm-hmm. If you put the hard work in, you'll make it. Mm-hmm. But if you want to scale it past that, $1 million mark in profits, you just, unless you don't have clear answers to these 2 questions, you're just not going to get to the point.
Wow, fantastic. I like that. So I really, really like that answer. So what I do when I'm looking to scale, as you know, I have 4 businesses. I have a letting and estate agency, which again is different to all the other agencies, because we tend to source property deals for investors. And obviously we do the management side of things. You absolutely nailed it there, right? It's a difficult business, right? You have to literally fight with literally management fees and all that sort of thing.
That's right.
You just have to know what sort of niche you want to target for you to be able to target that sort of people.
That is true.
Obviously, I've got my renovation company and I have my development company as well as my training business. As you say, so what I did basically when I wanted to scale is to answer those 2 questions that you've literally just asked. I looked at myself, I said, okay, what sort of job do I like to do, right? That adds the most value to my business. Okay, I put those jobs, like maybe intervening, like what I'm doing now, doing my renovation project and obviously my training. That's what I love the best. That's what brings the joy in me. And also I see people achieving results. Okay, so these are the 3 key areas I like: spending time with people. And then the second thing, I don't like the administration work. I don't like the management side of things. I don't like to literally go and do viewings and all that sort of thing. So what I did basically, I dedicate that sort of job to someone else. So hence the reason why I have my staff in my estate agency doing different tasks. All the administration side of them, some I source out to a VA or to my administration as assistants, and then I concentrate in doing what adds value to the business. In terms of you looking at it in a way that, look where you go. This is the market research you've actually touched on here. If there are 20 units of rent to rent in an area, you're absolutely right. You struggle to literally go through that. So what we do basically with the student I work with, or with my organizations, we look at the mass and we do the opposite, right? We follow the mass and do the opposite. So what we do is we observe the mass and do exactly the opposite. If everybody is in this area, for example, in Cardiff, center of Cardiff, we're going to look elsewhere. So where can I go and put my rent to rent where I do not literally have that competition? So that is working for us really, really well at the moment. If everybody's fighting, for example, Birmingham, I had about 7 units in Birmingham, right? We wanted to take on those 7 in the heart of Birmingham. If you know Birmingham Broad Street, yes, it was. When we looked at the market, literally there was swamp of service accommodation. Figures look good in paper, but in real life, the competition is so intense. So what we did basically is to move out of that location and then acquire over 8 more properties nearby, and those properties are doing really, really, really well. So this is the way I literally relate to what you've just said. That is the absolute way to actually take your property business to the next level. So then, Jack, I know you are playing both coins here. You are an investor, property investor, as well as you have a massive deal sourcing company and you co-source with lots of people in the UK. But I've got this question for you then. Do you reckon deal sourcer know that buy-to-let investor do not know?
Finding below market value deals.
Right.
It's so easy to find below market value deals. It's unbelievable how most people don't know. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, here is something that I started with this session as well. I said a lot of people have this plan B, okay? And what happens with plan A is when you have a plan B is you don't invest enough time and reflect back enough and use your creativity and use your commitment towards it to make it work. Now, what do I mean by that? Those who are committed to their plan A, and let's say if it's property, yeah, they will find a way to find these below market value properties. I remember someone had called me up and said, you know what, you talk about below market value properties, so easy to find. Can you show me? I said, okay, I'm going to show you. Took me less than 2 minutes to show him how to find below market.
I would imagine.
And he just looked at me and goes, you know what, I can't believe how just something as basic as that I didn't know.
Yeah.
But it's when you don't have a plan B, you will find a way to learn this, right? Even though it takes 2 minutes, or it's, you know, learning how to find them is 2 minutes. Learning how to negotiate is 10 years. Okay.
Absolutely.
So when you don't have plan B, you will find a way to find these deals and learn a way to negotiate these deals. Okay. It's the commitment. It's being able to bounce back from failures to failures, because you know, when you go for below market value properties, you're going to see 10 other people. I have walked into a property, there was 40 people lined up to view the property. Okay. Yeah. You need to learn how to stand out from those 40 people that are standing up. Okay. If you are working in a local region, you need to find out to stand out from the rest of the crowd in that town. Let's say you have 100 people. You have to learn how to stand out from those 100,000. Okay. And that's something that takes time. It takes persistence. But again, I think it just goes to the psychological framework of plan B and plan A.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that. So I relate to that now. Properties come to the market within 24 hours, they're gone basically. So you have to stand out, and relationship building is really key to that. And as I said, it's not one day thing. This is where your mentor and your coach comes in, because they will help you mentor you, guide you, because some people will be like, oh, I don't really like to hear no's. But when it comes to property, you and I know you get more than 1,000 no's or 100 no's before you got one yes. So it's better to have lots of no's than having lots of yes that doesn't add value. So that's what deal sources are good at.
Here is something, Rahim, I've learned. Okay.
Yeah.
And I learned it the hard way. Okay. I joined my family business when I was like 13, 14. Okay. So right. I've been in the journey for a very long time. One thing I learned is, if you are getting way too many no's, it's time to improve your sales skills. Okay.
Correct.
My average is about 50%, which is of every 10 people that I speak with, I get about 5 no's and 5 yeses.
Yeah.
And the reason I've been able to get to this point is purely practice, just
Absolutely.
practicing as if there's no tomorrow. And the more you practice, the more yeses you get, the more comfortable you get. But when you start, your average is going to be one of 100, right? You're going to get a 1 yes on 100 people that you speak with, and eventually you keep increasing that average. And the day you get to sort of 50s and 60s and 70s and more is irrespective of the business that you're in, you're going to do well.
Yeah, absolutely. Because what we do basically, we say, okay, once you've got a no, find out why you've got that no.
Yeah.
And then resolve the obstacle you have on that no.
That's true.
Actually, you're absolutely right. So I've known you for like a couple of years now or so.
Yeah.
You've always have energy, you always have motivation, you always have your enthusiasm going. I was just wondering if you could really tell our audience what really keeps you going with that energy.
What keeps me going? Yes. Okay. I think there's two things that keep me going really, really hard. One is, and this is very, very strong, that because I came as an immigrant, and I've woken up on days when I had no money for breakfast, to a point when I was suicidal. Wow. I just don't want to ever be back in that position ever.
Wow.
Okay. So it's the you can call it healthy ego, right? It's a healthy ego to say, you know what, I never want to be in that position ever again. So that's one. I think that's the most strongest factor. The second most strongest factor is family. Family. I am hugely driven by family. I think it's how you grow up as well. I mean, I grew up in very family oriented, atmosphere, very close to my dad, very close to my mom, very close to my siblings. So when it's almost, I look at it as, my parents looked after me. They sent me to a good school. I managed to, even though I went through some tough times in my life, but I think, those tough times are actually blessing in disguise. But at the same time, it's just purely family driven, because I want to make sure that when my kids grow up and when my siblings are watching me and when they need help, that I'm in a position to help them. And my kids, I don't want them to ever see me as a person who spoke more than he did. So wow. I tend to balance that really, really hard in terms of, if you see me speaking, you're going to see at least 10 times more me working hard behind the scene. And when I say hard, I mean smart and hard. But that's what I want them to see. It's almost like if you tell your kid what to do, they will never do it. But if you're actually doing it in front of them, they will do it. And likewise, I think when you get to a level, and very fortunate to be at this position, when you get to a level that I am on, you are getting watched by so many people. Not that I care about the opinion of people, but there are so many people who are actually, first of all, depending on you to pay their salaries.
Right.
Second is that they are watching you and they're getting inspired. Them getting inspired inspires me in return. Absolutely. Okay, so these factors make a big difference. I like I said, I think the strongest factor is not being ever in a position where I have to worry about money. And then the second is family. And then the third, I would say, is the network and the community.
Wow, I feel that, bro. I've never had an answer that is as intense as that. Family is literally what gets us going. As you said, you don't want to be in a situation where you cannot afford for your family. Same driving force for me is exactly the same thing. I used to sleep in sofas. I used to sleep in houses, rooms upon rooms, living with friends. I didn't have anywhere to go. So I don't really want to be in that situation again. So I understand where you're coming from. That's what wakes me up in the morning. That's what kind of gets me motivated, excited about what's going to happen next day. No matter what the obstacle is, yeah. I said to myself, if I've been able to overcome that, I can overcome everything and anything. So I tell myself I can do this, and I was able to actually move the needle to the next level. So yeah, I really, really like that.
Well done.
You just talk about hard times, Jack. I am definitely inspired by someone who has overcome hard times. Do you mind sharing a time or event that was really hard time for you and how you overcame it?
Okay, so let me share this with everyone so you can actually see the real face of life sometimes, the real face of being an entrepreneur. Wow. I think 90% of the times I am always under pressure. Okay, even though I've learned to manage pressure really well, but 90% of the times my life is just hard. Okay, so 90% of what you see as an entrepreneur is hard. 10% is just, Yes, it's all fairy tale because I can just switch off and delegate and just disappear to Caribbean if I want to. Okay, and I can afford that. So it's only the 10% that is all, fairy tale and dream life. 90% is just hard work. And here is what it's being an entrepreneur. The 90% of that hardship that you go through and the kind of person that you become, that is what is required of being an entrepreneur. That is what's required of being an entrepreneur. If you don't go through that hardship, you don't become that person. Remember, either you look at a around the corner cafe, or you look at a multi-million-pound business with 1,000 or 10,000 or 1,000,000 employees. At the core, there's just one person taking all that responsibility.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And if you are psychologically if you've not prepared yourself to think, okay, I am going to have 10,000 people working for me and I'll be responsible for their salaries, I'll be responsible for their families, I'll be literally responsible for everything. If you have not psychologically prepared yourself, you're not there yet. Okay, so to be able to go through that hardship is about preparing yourself psychologically to say, when I have 2 people working for me, I'm only responsible for 2 people plus their families. When you get to that, 10, 20,000 mark, now you're responsible for that people. Yeah. And you need to literally prepare yourself. Absolutely. You need to literally prepare yourself. And there's no other but to go through the hard days. So you'd get days when you wake up and you're just fired, it's almost like there are firefights going on and you're trying to resolve them, right? But that is what it's required to be that person, right? Go and face your challenges head on and say, I'm going to sort them out. Now, on to the next level. Every time you do a task, ask yourself, can it be delegated? Because if you keep doing a task, you don't become an entrepreneur, you become a slave of the system. Yeah. So asking yourself these questions and preparing yourself, because business is nothing more than, it's almost like if you look at a CEO and if you look at a junior manager in a business, the difference between these 2 people is the CEO has managed to manage stress and chaos really well. Yeah. Okay. And if you want to have that 10, 20% dream life, and eventually at some point when you sell your business, have a dream life altogether for the rest of your life, then that's what you need to be prepared for. But if you're not, then don't get into it, because like I said, either you're going to create a system that you're going to be a slave of, or you're going to create frustration in your life, and none of this is worth it.
I totally understand that. When I started my property journey, I was similar to that, creating that way of system. I used to be the one that does the viewings. I used to be the one that literally checks the tenant out. I used to be the one who cleans the door. I used to be the one who fixed the door. I realized to myself, I'm being a slave, basically. I had to find someone that would dedicate, who would do the job better than me, because I thought I was the best in doing everything, only to realize there are people out there that could do it better than me. So absolutely. Last main question before we do the fun quick fire round question. In property investment world, business, social media, society, I see in the first world, we are overwhelmed with so many media channels. We've got Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok. We have the Discord going. We have Clubhouse. Really see people driving expensive cars, living lavish lifestyle, buying houses left, right, and center. Sometimes it's really overwhelming, right? How do you deal with overwhelm? Because as yourself, as you are now, you've got lots of businesses that you do. How can people really get rid of the overwhelm and stay focused? Because if you think about it, there's so many stuff happening, Bitcoin, this going, that going. So how do you literally calm yourself down and then literally focus in your dream?
Here is 2 things. In fact, there's a few more than 2, but let's say 2. One is stop comparing yourself to anyone ever. The only person you need to compare yourself to what you were an hour ago or a day ago. That is all there is, okay? What you see on social media is just bragging. Absolutely. 9 out of 10, no, let me correct the numbers. Statistically proven, and you can check these numbers, 8 out of 10 of those people that you see with lavish cars are gonna go bankrupt, okay? So please do not fall for someone driving a really luxury car because they're about to go bankrupt just with that damn installment of that car and the luxury house that they bought. Please don't fall for that. Okay. No need to compare your life to anyone. Everyone goes through their own journey. Someone starts with £1 million like Donald Trump, and someone starts with nothing like Rahim, you and me. Okay. So no need to compare your life to, first of all, anyone. Second is, I believe a lot of people get this wrong, which is they see grass greener on the other side. Okay. Grass is not greener on the other side. Grass is greener where you water it.
Absolutely. Wow. Okay? I like that. I like that.
So learn to switch off social media. I mean, I switch off. I've got 500,000 damn people in our network, 500,000. Unless I don't switch off, I'll die. Yeah. I switch off. I was speaking with someone just like an hour ago, and I said, do you see me on social media every day? And she goes, no. I said, the reason you don't see me is because at the behind the scene, I'm trying to get deals done. And my primary aim is to get more deals done and more business done than to be on social media and showing off. Yes, yeah, I do still put it on social media because I want to inspire people, but that still doesn't mean that is a very much a secondary, bottom of the list thing for me. Primary aim always is to make sure the business is working well, is profitable, not just one business, but multiple businesses, an umbrella company. Unless they are not profitable, no point me going around and saying, okay, I've bought myself a really nice car, I've bought myself a hotel. You know, you really, unfortunately, with COVID and government giving out grants, I know people who kind of borrowed £1 million plus, and now they're driving brand new Range Rovers. And I know by heart that there's bankruptcy coming down the line. Please do not compare. Please do not fall for all of this crap. Please don't fall for these Bentleys and Ferraris that you see around the corner, okay? It's all about looking at a person and saying, has he got his head down? Is he humble enough? Is he really gonna make this business profitable or not? And I'm not saying short-term, I'm saying long-term profitability, okay? Most of the businesses which focus on short-term profits eventually end up going bankrupt. It's the ones who compromise, in many cases, short-term profitability for long-term profitability are the ones which will survive. Otherwise, with and all the competition, it's a matter of time that many of these, in fact, most of them, statistically proven, 80% of them are going to go back.
Wow, you're absolutely right. You know, so what I normally tell the people I work with or my students, right? Investment or property investing, to be specific, you know, it's not a race, right? It's not a sprint, right? It's a marathon. As long as you are better today than yesterday, you're doing amazing. As you just said, compare what you've done today to yesterday. If you've moved the needle, you are at a better place. I tell people that all the time. And just to touch on about the cars or houses, you're absolutely right. Some of these people are literally hiring the cars, right, to do a quick Snapchat video and then return it back. I know some people who literally does that. They literally do that. If they want to do a promo video, hire a nice car or go to a nice, amazing house, hire it for a day, do their videos. But, and again, it's good you pointed that out, is because lots of people that are on social media. I like that proverb that you said, the grass is not greener on the other side. The grass is greener where you are if you water it, if you look after it. I like that. Absolutely amazing quote. I will use that as
I think another thing with social media is,
carry on.
I think another thing with social media, the problem is you see a very small glimpse of someone's life. Okay, so it's almost like I worked 8 or 10 hours a day, worked really hard, did what I could, and then I go down to a really nice restaurant, I call myself a chauffeur, and then they put the picture of that moment. Does that make sense? So you get a very small glimpse, and what tends to happen is people see that glimpse and start to perceive that that's what their whole life is all about, and it's not. It's not.
Absolutely. You and I know
Most
that.
of the time,
so it's good we are putting it to the public so people can know that. Listen,
people
you don't
can
have
see
to
through.
drive Ferrari. You don't have to buy a Lamborghini to be successful.
That's
Just
true.
follow your path. Focus
Exactly.
on it. You know, don't worry about someone making millions in Bitcoin or crypto, or now we got NFTs going, and now you got web 3 or whatever it is. Just focus on what you're doing. What I said to myself, if the owner of Poundland can make multiple of millions by selling an item for £1, whatever you focus your attention in, you can make millions out of it.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
That's how I see it. Basically.
If you just focus and you use your creativity, which is who we are very creative beings. If you use your creativity and you just focus on one thing, you'll do really well. And then you keep persisting, obviously.
Yeah, of course. Quick fire round question, right? This is the fun part. I like this part because obviously that's what gets us to know your personal side of things as well. So the first question is, what is the worst advice you remember receiving?
I received it only about a couple of weeks ago, right. And from a very, very close family member. And they said, why are you taking so much on you and growing your business? What's the need? Without realizing that, you know, if we are not growing, that means we're shrinking, not just as a business, but as a human being. And that's not what we are born to be. We're born to grow. And that was one of the best piece of worst advice I got only, like I said, a couple of weeks ago.
Wow, that is really was advice. I had someone, I took a taxi one day. I asked this guy about what was happening in the taxi market, taxi industry. He said, brother, I don't need lots of money. I don't need problems. I only want 10,000, 15,000 pounds. I asked him, why, brother? He said, because that's what I need. I said, how have you thought about getting maybe 15,000 pounds? He said, I don't need it. He happens to be someone from Pakistan, right? I gave him an analogy. I said, do you have an extended family in Pakistan? He said, yes. I said, so if you earn 10,000 pounds just for your own family, imagine your auntie, your uncle, your cousins fell ill, terminally ill. They've asked you to send them 2,000 pounds and you haven't got that money. How would you feel? Right? He said to me, oh, I would feel horrible. I said, that's the reason why you need to have that extra bit. It's not just for your family, but so you can help humanity. Because if you look at your family, you've been narrow-minded. If you've got more than you need, you give back to charity. You've got your mosque, you've got your church, you've got your charity organization. You've got so many communities that you could support with that money. But for them, they're just fixated in that side of idea. You know what? This is what I want. This is what I need. It's just for my family.
Here is something I've learned, Rahim. Okay, it's very interesting. You can never change a person unless they're prepared to change themselves.
Absolutely.
So I actually don't advise people unless they ask me. And if they ask me, then I know that they are maybe maybe a small percentage prepared to change. Okay. So, I mean, this is on maybe a few years ago, now 5-6 years ago that I learned. And since then, I don't advise people. And if they call me up and then ask me, it's only that moment that I would advise them. Otherwise, no advice, because when you advise people who don't want to change, all you create is enemies.
Absolutely. So that then drives us nicely to what is the best advice you remember receiving?
I think best advice, I don't think I can pinpoint one. It's just going to be very tough. But if I was to pinpoint one, again, very difficult, but I would say Dr. Wayne Dyer from one of his books.
Who was the doctor?
Dr. Wayne Dyer. Okay, Dr. Wayne Dyer. He used to be a spiritual teacher. He's written many books. And I've been very fortunate enough to read many of his books as well. One of the advices that he said was that learn to look at yourself as a third person and observe. Just observe. And what that means is that what you will probably see in most cases is that you will see a person who is enough. You're enough. Yeah. You don't have to keep thinking. A lot of people do this, that, oh, I have to achieve more, I have to do more, I have to do this, I have to do that. No, you don't. Absolutely. You just have to do, when you wake up, you do your duty, you do your work, you look after yourself, look after your family, look after your health, You grow intellectually, you grow socially, you grow your business, you keep optimizing, but always remember that you're enough. Wow. By observing yourself as a third person. And when you do that, you live every single moment in the present moment and live a much more happier internal life.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Okay, so that's something I learned from him. And I've been, like I said, very, very fortunate to learn that. But being able to observe yourself as a third person is very, very important to live a happy life and then be able to live a very balanced, happy, and very less chaos or almost no chaotic life. Even though there may be chaos outside, you don't feel that inside when you start to observe yourself as a third person.
Fantastic. Thanks very much for that. Who is your favorite sports star?
Sports star. I have not watched any sports for the past 17 years.
Wow. Okay.
No TV, no sports. When I say no TV, very little TV these days. I watch a few movies every now and then. But very little TV, no sports at all. Okay. I go to gym every single day. I used to have one person, I'm trying to think of his name. He was a snooker player, Scottish snooker player, a very, very well known still. But I can't remember his name. But no,
don't worry about it. It's fine. No, it's fine.
But for me, it's always been about personal and professional skill building and learning. So for the past 17 years or so that I can think, it's all been just personal, professional development.
Fantastic. Looking back at your 18-year self, what would you have done differently?
Oh, I would have read a lot more books. I would have read a lot more. I've been fortunate enough to shy of, okay, but just shy of 2,000 books.
Wow.
But if I was in my 18 and if I knew what I know now, I would have probably done 3,000.
Wow, well done. 2,000 still is a lot.
But read more and execute more is the learning curve. If when you're 18, so those who are listening to this and they're 18 or in their early teens or whatever, start a business now, focus and learn as much as you can. And that's the key.
Fantastic. What was your inspiration growing up?
What was my inspiration growing up? My dad. He was, at one point when I was in my teens, I actually used to think he's workaholic. When I look back now, I don't think he was workaholic. He was focused. Wow. And he was family driven, which is eventually what I have become as well. But my inspiration has always been my dad. He was an amazing human being. Most of his life, he gave away 10% of his earnings to community and charities. And that's always been my intention as well. I'm now nowhere close to what he was. And, but yeah, it's been always my dad.
Wow, fantastic. Your biggest regret?
No regrets. It's all learning curve.
Fantastic. So I think you've answered this question already, but if you have anybody to actually substitute on this, I'll be grateful. Who is or was your role model?
I think Sylvester Stallone, I must say, a guy who came from nothing and built to where he is now. Yeah. I watched every single one of his movies tens of times. And he's probably inspiration for many people out there as well, probably my age group as well. But Sylvester Stallone, who else can I think of? I think in my early teens, I did watch a lot of cricket as well. Yeah. So I don't know if you know Sachin Tendulkar. He was,
of course, I've heard about him.
He was a great batsman. I watched him play cricket massively, and he was very young when he came in as well. That's another inspiration that I had. Who else? Dr. Wayne Dyer. We have the superhuman Jim Rohn.
Of course.
I think I get inspired a lot by Elon Musk these days as well.
Wow, okay.
Things he's doing is amazing. I don't think people realize how tough it is to do what he's doing.
Yeah, of course.
So Elon Musk is another one. That's it. That's the names I can think about.
Fantastic. Thanks very much for that. Is there something you believe that lots of people disagree with?
Oh, I know lots of things that a lot of people disagree with. People will disagree with me on how much money make. Like my target is crazy. So when I share with anyone, they're always like, oh, this is impossible.
Right.
When I share with people that how compounding works, they're not prepared to believe.
Yeah.
A good example is I started reading when I was about 25. I'm 42 now, 17 years, just shy of 2,000 books, compounding effect. And the purpose of reading those books is purely that how you build your skills. I don't think anyone ever thought that I'd be able to read that kind of number of books.
No,
okay? So
2,000 books.
To read
2,000 books. That is a
I
record
am
breaker.
42. If I live up to, let's say, 70, I'm probably going to end up closing 5,000.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
So stuff like that. Money, books, being able to lead a large team. A lot of people look at me and say, how the hell do you lead a network of 500,000 people? How the hell do you lead a team of X number of people that work for you? I mean, in my chauffeur business, I used to lead a team of 47 people. And they look at me and they go, wow, how the hell do you lead 47 people?
I know.
If you observe, I did not say manage, I said lead.
Yeah.
So you have to lead. Lead is very different from managing someone.
Yeah.
You manage systems, you don't manage people, you lead people by showing them what to do. So I think a lot of people underestimate what they can do with their creativity. So when I share with them that, look, it's possible to make £1 billion in a single day, they're not prepared to believe.
No.
Well, it's possible if you believe in yourself and you work towards that day.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I can share lots of things. I personally know people who've kind of written a business idea on a Friday, built it over Saturday, tested it over Sunday, and sold it for multi-millions by Monday.
Yeah. Cool.
I know people personally like that. So please do not underestimate your creativity. Those who are watching this and listening to this, you are capable of building a multi-million pound business in a single day, as long as you can bring the creativity and the skills into the picture. It's possible, but you sometimes do have to work for that day for 10, sometimes 20 years before you reach that day.
Right. That's where the compounding comes in.
Yeah.
You did mention compounding. That's where it comes in.
That's
I'm going to ask you a very difficult question now, Jack. This question is going to be difficult for you. You've read 2,000 books, right? What is the best book you've ever read or listened to?
Oh, you know what? This stands out from the rest of the crowd. It's a book called by Dr. Wayne Dyer. It's called I Can See Clearly Now.
Wow. Okay.
This is an easy one, in fact, because this book stands out so far from the rest of them that I can remember the title there and then with the author. My best author is Dr. Wayne Dyer by far, and I Can See Clearly Now is a book that it's almost like when you read that book, you'd be able to see clearly in your life and how it can change you in a very positive way.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that. I will make sure I get that book myself because I haven't read it. I'll definitely get that in my Audible platform. Does money change you?
No, money just brings out what you already had inside you. So if you were an arrogant person, it only brings more arrogance. And if you're a more humble person, it'll bring more humility. If you're a more egoistic person, then it'll just bring more ego of yours out. It doesn't change you. It just brings out more of what you already have inside.
Fantastic. Does money make you happy?
Yes, massively. Those who think money can't buy happiness, think again. I'll tell you how. You go and do the best shopping, it will make you happy. You go and give that money away to your community and to your friends and family. It's going to make you happy. Money can make you happy. You can actually buy happiness with money as long as you know where to use and how to use it.
Absolutely. Saving a life makes you happy. If you've got the money, you can cut the check and then you got that person sorted.
Yeah, someone's got cancer. They can't afford their treatment. You go and give that money. Is that not going to make you happy? Think twice.
Absolutely. And that then drives me straight to the hotel that we're talking about, or the hotel I bought. I bought a hotel. I'm converting that now into 15 apartments. And someone asked me, Rahim, you must be so excited, right? I said, of course I'm excited, but the excitement only lasts for 3 minutes. And then you got it, and then that's it, it's done. But when I give back by literally impacting people, like one of my students just closed 7 deals, right? That brings joy to me. It gives me goosebumps. I was like, wow, I've impacted someone there, and it's going to be making lots of money out of that. And at the same time, we're helping other people as well. So you're absolutely right in that regard. I don't know if you relate to that when you bought your hotel.
Yes, the excitement only is very short. But at the same time, I think I've been fortunate enough to say I don't necessarily get excited with the stuff. What excites me is spending more time with family. What excites me is being able to help other people. But other than that, material things don't excite me anymore.
Fantastic. Good. Is there something you used to strongly believe you recently changed your mind on?
I changed my mind on. I think one of the biggest things that I changed, it's not recent, but a few years ago, is, which I shared earlier as well, that people don't change. Yeah. It's only when they decide to change themselves that they change. They don't change because you tell them.
Fantastic. I like that.
Yeah. So people don't really change unless they decide to change themselves. And the fact that I know this and I apply it to myself and all my relationships has changed my life positively in many ways. Fantastic.
Is there something in the world you fundamentally think is wrong and you would like to change?
Many things. The whole economic system is wrong. The whole education system is wrong.
So which one would you like to change and why?
If I picked up one thing, I would change the education system. Yeah. I mean, you go to school and you do your graduation, you do your masters, and they never teach you even the basics of making money and running a business. Besides the fact that most people don't even know what business is all about. Business is not about making money. Business is about making an impact, bringing a change in the society, in the industries, something that you bring new to the table. Most people don't understand that, and that's never even taught. Even if you do a business degree, they don't teach you that stuff. So unfortunately, I think the education system all over around the world is very much broken. And I think it's only the entrepreneurs that are going to bring that change. And we're working on something that might bring that change to some extent.
Fantastic. I look forward to actually hearing about that or literally learning about it as well. This podcast is called Property Investment Blueprint. What does Property Investment Blueprint means to you?
I think investment blueprint is very simple. You do something, it works for you. Now you write it down, and then you go and teach it to others or you share it with others. That's the blueprint. That's all there is. Sometimes my observation is that something that's worked for you or for me may not work for other people, because what you share is content, what changes is context. But even when you learn, that content can massively help you in your journey. So that's what blueprint is all about.
Thank you so much for that. Final one. If there is only 1 or 2 people you'd love me to interview on this platform, who would that person be and why?
Go for Elon Musk. I mean, I'll tell you, there are 3 people that I tried approaching, I must say. I tried approaching Sadhguru. I don't know if you know Sadhguru.
Oh, so is that the gentleman in India, right?
That's right, yes. So he's one of the most third leading spiritual person in the world, people who follow him. I tried reaching out to him, but he's not one of those you can reach out to easily. So I did reach out to his head office, but their expectations are much higher. And the second person I tried reaching was Ratan Tata. I don't know if you know Ratan Tata. He is probably the second or the third top richest man in India. And it's not about the richest, but the man is just pure inspiration. I tried reaching out to his office to book him for an interview. Again, not an easy person to reach out to, not just because he's one of the most wealthiest people in the world, but just because of the time and so that's 2 people that I've reached out to. I was planning, and I'm still planning to reach out to Elon Musk. Maybe I may not reach out to him now. Maybe in 5-10 years time, compounding effect of our own personal brand, but that will happen at some point.
Go for it. All I'll tell you, persistence, perseverance, and consistency gets you there. So that's for true. This podcast, then, for like what we're doing now, trying to inspire people within the UK or abroad, wherever they are, who do you think would be the person that you think would impact people like ourselves or millennials that you would love me to interview?
I think Simon Zucchi is a great example. Simon Zucchi, and at the back of that, we have Mike Bristow as well, who's the CEO of Crowd Property. I think these two people are massively inspirational. They're building a great organization. Simon Zucchi has built good 2-3 different businesses. And so is Mike Bristow as the CEO of Crowd Property. But these two people are massively inspirational.
Fantastic. Okay, I'll definitely try to see if I can get touch of them. Attempts to get hold of them.
I'd be happy to introduce you to both of them.
Fantastic. I would love to. Thank you so much for that, Jack. I really
thank you, Rahim.
Right.
I do need to shoot off.
I got a couple of questions I want to ask you. Right. It's been an amazing having you as a special guest in our podcast.
Thank you.
And where should we follow you? Where are you hanging out? I know you do deal sourcing. You have so many property strategies that you do, and you also have your training business. So where are the best places people can literally find you to get hold of you for you to help serve them?
So lately, I'm a difficult person to get hold of, and I'm not saying in a egoistic way, just a humble way. I'm just short of time, and there's so much happening around me. Your best bet to be able to reach out to me is social media. All of my social media gets managed by a team. I don't manage it. So if you send a message, it's probably gonna get picked up by one of my team members who will post on to me. But reach out to me on social media. I'm Jack Dawhra, with Jack, J-A-C-K, D-A-W-H-R-A on pretty much every social media platform. That is the more commercial active ones. You can message, like I said, but my team will pick it up and they will respond. We are good at responding.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for this, Jack. Really appreciate your time. And thank you for sharing your life passion with us. We love you, bro. I really hope you literally smash it. You get the 3 people you want to interview, and I really look forward to seeing you building that £1 billion property empire. Thank you so much, Jack.
Thank you, and I wish you the same as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.